rush hour in Toronto is about to take on a whole new meaning. Triathletes from across the world have come to take over the harborfront and highways, transforming the downtown into one big race course. There are sprint distances, Olympic distances, relays. There is something for everyone, including Olympic gold medalist Simon Whitfield giving back to the sport that he loves. Then there are those elite athletes with ITU points on the line, knowing that every point earned gets them one step closer to representing their country in the 2015 Pan American Games here in Toronto. However, before any of those points can be awarded, they need to put it all on the line. A 1,500-meter swim, followed by a 40-kilometer bike, finished off with a grueling 10K run. The road to the Pan Am Games starts here. This is the 2014 Toronto Triathlon ITU Pan American Cup, all part of the Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend. This is the quiet before the storm. The roads are empty, the water is still, and athletes are getting themselves ready for battle. Their gear needs to be race ready, and their minds need to be focused on the day ahead. Hello, Canada. Pleased to be joined by former Canadian national team triathlon coach Barry Shepley. And up first, Barry, it is the women, and there are international points at stake here as well. These athletes looking ahead. Pan Am Games on the horizon. 2016 Olympics in Rio, not far behind. And so now you want to show something for the national coaches.
Yeah, that's right, Vic. That's why these moments are so tense in those last minutes before you head into the water. They know it's their one chance to race on this course before next year's Pan American Games. They're trying to familiarize themselves and trying to impress the selectors.
Oh, it would mean the world to me to be able to compete at the Pan American Games next year. I will definitely try and put myself in the mix, so hopefully I have a chance at making a spot.
Dominica is from Port Hope, Ontario, ranked number 1 coming in, so we'll see if she can live up to this promise.
On your mark.
And here we go, and it's always a flurry of activity.
That first 50 meters, your only priority is to try to get your arms and shoulders ahead of the people beside you. Once you get out, you get your breathing under control, start sighting, but that first 25 or 30 seconds, critical to starting off your day.
And Barry, as they hit that first buoy, so much going on. It is Allison Hooper from Calgary, but right behind her and gaining on the inside, that's Summer Cook of Denver.
Best situation, you get a group of 2 to 4 athletes who want to get away because they're not pounding each other. These guys very experienced. Their goal just to get on each other's feet, but not to smash. Further back, it's a bit of craziness as everyone's frantically trying to catch back up.
Now, I've often heard it said you won't win it here, but you could lose it here.
Yeah, there's no question about it. If you come out of the water 30 to 40 seconds down, you've got a much more difficult task. You come out in that lead group, already you can start to get yourself into that lead pack.
As they work their way around this loop at Ontario Place on the Toronto waterfront. Now, it is 1,500 meters. The total course will take the top women around 2 hours. The swim, only about 20 minutes of that. All right, the Denver athlete, Summer Cook, is first out. 20 minutes, 10 seconds. The chase group, only about 30 seconds behind.
You can see those thermal caps they have on right there. Very cool conditions in Lake Ontario. Now their hands are going to be very, very tight. They're going to try to get out of those wetsuits. Important to have a fast transition.
And here they go.
You can see Hooper right there. She's had a terrific swim. Jamie, she had a broken elbow, missed a lot of training time in the water, so right now she's got to be pleased with that swim.
All right, so the chase is on. These women now will work together to try and track down the leader, Summer Cook, and the lead chase pack, Allison Hooper from Calgary, Chiminiki, Port Hope, along with the American Gartman from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Well, they've got a great small group right there, and even though they're from different countries, they're going to be working not together, they're going to be working together with the people in that lead group.
Because the biking is drafting, you want to work with the people that you come out of the water with. It doesn't matter which country they're from. It's obviously every woman for herself on the bike, but you don't want to be coming off the bike with your legs smashed and having to grind out a run. You want to try and save your legs or try and work with girls so that all of you can come off with optimal running legs.
Remember, coming out of the water with a time of 20:10, leading by 30 seconds, Denver's Summer Cook. It's gone.
Well, take a look. Smart move in my estimation. She now has a group of 4 to work with. Dami, the Canadian athlete right now, in a great position because now she's got someone else to work with, save her legs for later on this course.
So in behind now, there's a big group of women, including this lady from Calgary, Alex Coates.
Our Canadian women are amazing right now. I think we have 7 who could all, by Rio, be on the podium. That's pretty cool. Like, I think other countries should be definitely scared about that.
Lots of Canadians could win here, but what we've got right now is a 2-person breakaway.
Perfect situation for Dami right there, taking in some calories, working incredibly hard right now because if she can get away with a 90-second gap off the bike, she could win this thing.
Go, Johanna!
Joanna Gartman from Tennessee, along with Dami Jamnicki from Port Hope. Lots of race left here at the Women's ITU Triathlon Pan American Cup, all part of the Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend. Welcome back to the 2014 Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend, along with Barry Shepley, as the women complete their 40-kilometer bike, and it has come down now to a 2-woman race.
This 10 kilometers is going to be absolutely critical in Dami's career. She has never had a chance to win a big race. To do it at home, that would be life-changing for her, no question about it.
Only a few seconds behind from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Joanna Gartman.
Well, Gartman is a solid runner, but there are bigger, faster, more talented runners coming off the bike here shortly, and both of these women are going to be running in fear because they have some outstanding runners coming up from behind.
As we see this chase pack, 3 Americans, 2 Canadians.
Yeah, look at Dolan just coming up. She is absolutely a world-class runner from the United States. Cook, who led out of the water right now, trying to go after them. The better runners are coming out of this chase pack, and Dami is going to have to absolutely execute the perfect day.
It is a pressure-packed day, never won before. The girl from Port Hope, Ontario.
I don't do well under pressure. The more light I keep the race, the better it will go for me. I like to have fun, and when I keep it light and happy, that's when I race at my best. So with a huge smile on my face.
Not a lot of smiling right now.
Learning how to lead and learning how to control your emotions when you're in the lead is so important. Right now, this is an important, critical moment for her experience, and she's really dealing with it very well.
And maybe this will be the celebration drink as she makes the final run. She'll have one right-hand turn, then another. But look at right there, Gartman can see her, but can she close on her?
In that last home stretch right now, she has never been so close to the top of the podium in her entire career. And look, the glass is up. That's usually a sign that you're feeling confident.
All right, here she comes.
High-fiving the crowd. The smile is back. Dami Jamnicki is the 2014 ITU Triathlon Pan American Cup champion.
What an absolutely great feeling. Here comes Gartman into the finishing line. She's got to be very pleased as well.
The Chattanooga, Tennessee athlete finishes a minute back. It was that close. And in 3rd place, as we look back, here comes Erin Dolan, who really did leave it all out on the course.
Well, Dolan actually had the fastest run of the day. In fact, as she came off the bike with the leader, she would have won the race.
And 30 seconds behind her, the leader out of the water, Summer Cook. This is Alex Coates of Calgary. Remember, she led the chase pack, but just could never get close enough. Let's take a look at our top 5, and it's won by Port Hope, Ontario's Dami Jamnicki, 2:03:56. And as the women continue to stream through the finish line, the men are getting prepared now, Barry. 45 men, 9 different countries, here to pick up some international points, get a glimpse of the course for those Pan Am Games. One man comes into this race as a heavy favorite. The rest of the field knows it too. It's the Canadian Olympian Kyle Jones of Oakville, Ontario.
You want to compete against the best. Racing against Kyle, if you can beat him or give him a good race, then you know that you're sort of making that next step to that level. You want to see where you stand up, and you can't do that if he's not here.
The number 1 seed representing Canada, Kyle Jones.
One of the biggest deciding factors for me coming this weekend was the thought of, next year Pan Am Games being here and, having the opportunity to see the course, see if I could pick up any little information. I've been to the Pan Am Games twice now, 2007 and 2011. Finished 4th place in both those, so just off the podium. To have the opportunity to finally make that step onto the podium and hopefully on the top step will be huge.
And when you're the favorite, you're expected to win.
On your mark.
45 into the water, including Kyle Jones.
Well, you know what? Kyle Jones has a lot of pressure on him today because when you're number one, you got to get the job done. He's here to learn for next year, but he also has to get it done. Trican's here watching this guy, and he is a superstar. He is also a past Olympian.
It's a lot busier than we saw with the women.
No question, when you put 45 men in a very quick turn, you're going to see a lot of carnage happening at this first corner.
Now here it is. Is this a little surprise? Quebec City's Alexis Lepage is your leader.
Well, he's a great swimmer. Last year's Canadian junior champion. Andrew McCartney right beside him. He's led out in some of the biggest races in the world.
So it is Alexis Lepage who leads as they stretch out now through the Toronto waterfront. This 2014 edition of the Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend is brought to you by the Government of Ontario, Sport Canada, and the City of Toronto. Welcome back to the 2014 Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend, along with Barry Shepley, as the men are just now coming out of the water in this Pan American Cup. And still out in front, slimmest of margins, Alexis Lepage from Quebec City.
Great to see a youngster coming out there, last year's national champion, showing that he can step right up to the elite field. There's Andrew McCartney, one of the best swimmers ever in the sport of triathlon. So both of these guys have had great swims. And here come the real chase pack out of the water, that extra 15 seconds, tightly bunched together. Critical that they really stay organized because they have to get out of the wetsuit, and more importantly, all of that equipment has to go in those little boxes right beside their bikes.
Because if it isn't, there's a possible penalty.
Well, the 15-second penalty, the best one we've ever seen at the Olympic Games. Johnny Brownlee literally almost lost his bronze medal at the Olympics because of a 15-second penalty.
So Quebec City's Lepage, he is the first out. He's making the hill climb now. On his heels, the group includes the Canadians, Kyle Jones and Alexander Hinton.
A big group of athletes, only about 15 seconds back. Right now, the Canadian's not trying to get away. He's looking for these guys to join him.
And this is where they say the games begin. Because earlier we talked about, in the women's race, drafting here is legal.
Absolutely critical. And John Rasmussen has now put himself into that lead group of 3. This is a very powerful group, but they're going to have to try to stay ahead of a group of at least 6 or 7 guys who are motivated to catch up.
Rasmussen from Hamilton, Ontario.
The draft legal racing it's very intense, accelerating out of the corners and being able to respond to attacks. There's back and forth. Almost everyone's your teammate and your enemy at the same time. Can't see myself doing any other style of racing.
You often hear in a Tour de France, for example, working together. What does it mean?
The aerodynamics of getting behind another cyclist at 45 kilometers an hour is significant. These guys want to work together. One person take the lead, stay out there for 8 to 10 seconds, let another athlete come up front, and that's how you stay ahead of the chase pack.
There really is a lot going on, but take a look. On the right, in the sunglasses, that's Kyle Jones, Canadian Olympian, and he may just dictate things.
Well, he's going to say a lot with just his actions. He's moving up towards the lead, talking to the boys, saying, look, let's keep this pace up. There's some good runners coming up from behind, and he wants to make sure that this group of 10 doesn't get any larger.
A lot of time, teammates will communicate together, whether it's tactically organizing a breakaway potentially. Maybe it's, they've seen something, they're relaying the information. But there's definitely communication going on. The focus has got to be there the whole time, and there's definitely moments. There's going to be a few guys here trying to break away on the bike. Maybe they're not necessarily strong enough runners, so you really got to be focused the whole time, looking around, see who's there, and staying focused. It's going to hurt, and you're basically just seeing if you can hurt for as long as you can and outlast everyone else.
You got to love it. You hurt for as long as you can.
Well, maybe about 31 minutes of hurt coming up here. That's about the time that Kyle Jones usually takes to get to the end of the 10-kilometer run.
Boy, look at this. This is a traffic jam. This is a rush hour coming into transition. Very little room for a mistake here. About 10 of them all together.
Critical to have a fast transition. You can see shoes on, helmet into the bin, off they go. Jones had a terrific transition.
And again, it's Lepage from Quebec City out first on the run. Kyle Jones right behind him. They want their points. They want their place on the podium. They want to make their mark. The Pan Am Games are next year.
Just imagine when the world comes to Toronto, 50-plus countries racing on this course. These young athletes right now have a one-year head start.
Kyle Jones wasting no time, Barry. He's going right after Lepage.
We've seen Kyle Jones do this many times in the last couple of years. Interestingly, 2 years ago, Kyle Jones and Alex Hinton finished 1-2 at the Edmonton World Cup race. That was Hinton's breakthrough, and right now he's in the exact same position.
And there goes Hinton right with him. Remember what Hinton said about judging his performance on what he does today against Jones.
Well, he would love to beat Kyle Jones, no question about it. He's being very smart, taking in fluid, keeping the core temperature down. It's going to be really important in that last kilometer. And look at, he's passing the water over to Kyle Jones. What a very classy move. These guys want to beat each other on the course, not through dehydration.
It's really become a two-man race as we see Jason Wilson from the Barbados blue and yellow dropping back. We have gotten word now. 15-second penalty has been handed out to Alex Hinton. Go back to the first transition. Out of the water. His cap did not make the box they're supposed to be in. So at some point in time, in his remaining run, he has to stop at that penalty box for 15 seconds. So what to do if you're Alex Hinton?
Knowing he's got the penalty, I would try to get as far away from Kyle Jones as I possibly can. Jones is going to try to finish this up by keeping a steady pace. Hinton's got to try to get away.
And again, he doesn't have to stop on this lap. He has to stop for the 15 before he crosses the finish line. So it is shaping up to be an exciting finish here at the 2014 Triathlon Pan American Cup, all part of the Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend. The 2014 edition of the Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend is brought to you by the Government of Ontario, Sports Focused Consulting, and Canadian Sports Insurance Brokers. And Barry, Kyle Jones now, it's his race. Alex Hinton has elected to take that 15-second penalty before the last lap.
I think Hinton did everything he could. He tried to stay as close as he possibly could, and now he's digging absolutely to the last few seconds, hoping maybe that Kyle Jones will falter. And Hinton, this guy is going to be the future, no question. He's from RTC in Guelph, the training center. His coach, Craig Taylor's got to be pleased, but Kyle Jones just too experienced today.
Right now, he's representing Canada in style.
Kyle Jones will take the Canadian flag. Will he raise the flag next year at the Pan Am Games? He's on the podium this year, the top step. Kyle Jones is the winner here in Toronto.
Well, he's got to be very pleased with that finish. Hinton, this guy is certainly part of the future of Canada's triathlon.
Within 9 seconds, despite the 15-second penalty. And coming in third from Barbados, Jason Wilson. So it's Canadians 1-2 on the podium, Jones and Hinton. And when you compare the time, take us back to Sydney in 2000.
Well, to put things in perspective, Simon Whitfield ran 30:54 for his run split in Sydney. Today, Kyle Jones goes 30:26. It just shows how great a performance that was today.
A beautiful sunny day. No hint of rain, except the rain of champagne for the podium finishers here in Toronto. Now, while it was a beautiful sunny day for the elite level athletes, the age groupers get to enjoy the city while keeping cool under some light rain. Wave after wave of athletes starting their journey in Lake Ontario. They weave along the city skyline, passing landmarks such as the CN Tower and Rogers Centre.
No rush hour today, this is awesome. I'm going to call this, and I would say this affectionately, this is wonderfully weird. I mean, it is pouring rain, and the lightning is holding off, and you see people in a Speedo in the park doing leg swings at 6:30 in the morning. And this is our culture, and it's endurance sport, and it's wonderfully weird, and look at them all. They're doing it. They're going to get it done. It's great.
These athletes have come from all over the world to be part of this event. For some, they're here for fitness. Others are driven by a competitive spirit. And then there are those that have come to prove something to themselves and to also give something back. Such as athlete number 1540, Terry Gardner, a dedicated athlete who has finished several triathlons. He even finished the New York City event on a broken leg.
There's probably 100 people or more on that boat, Terry.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Terry is also blind. He's here with One with One, an organization that's helped make triathlon a big part of his life.
We're an organization that supports people who are blind or physically challenged to realize their dreams as athletes in the sport of triathlon. We race as a team and a collective, and it's very peer support based, where people are learning from each other and helping to kind of translate knowledge, and more importantly, translate empowerment that comes from crossing a finish line.
Tour de France stuff. This summer will be my 10-year anniversary of losing my sight. Lost my sight overnight. Woke up to go to work one morning and couldn't see myself in the mirror. The next 4 years were really tough years.
His life kind of started to unravel after that, and felt a bit lost and wasn't too sure where he was in life or who he was anymore.
I mean, to kill a day, I used to sleep. That's what I did, sleep. Can you imagine? Wow. I think about it now, it's crazy.
After losing his way in life through the despair of what had happened, Terry knew he needed to change. And that's when Jan and One with One called and offered him a chance to do a triathlon with their team.
I mean, since then, you know, I'm after gaining back my confidence and the strut, I suppose, that I used to have. A big difference to where I was sitting on the couch for 24/7 to being out and enjoying life by doing triathlon.
Guides are often the key to success for this program. On the run today, Terry's guide will be 2000 Olympic gold medal winner Simon Whitfield.
All right, Terry. Guys, we ready? All right, you ready? I'm right here.
Let's go, Terry! The more important thing was not me, but the people who were coming behind. You know, the folks that were going to lose their sight. You know, if they could see that I could do it, maybe, you know, it'll make a difference to them. Simon's been an Olympic champion for Canada. Maybe the next one coming behind might be the Paralympic champion for Canada in triathlon. You never know.
Para-athletes are becoming a bigger and bigger part of the sport. The one thing they seem to share is an amazing attitude that is both inspiring and infectious.
It's a city that I grew up in. I drove on this road all through high school. This is the highlight of my life. Anyone can do it. 5K, triathlon, marathon. Your will just has to be stronger than your won't.
And we certainly won't argue with that. Of course, a weekend like this doesn't happen without the valuable contribution of volunteers and sponsors.
We've seen a tremendous amount of different age ranges, from a 17-year-old to a 67-year-old participating in these types of events, and it's inspiring what's involved and the dedication and commitment that's required on their part to participate in something like this. So it's been a great experience and we've had a great time.
And the rain, well, it couldn't dampen the festivities as another successful Toronto Triathlon Festival weekend comes to a close. And what a way to leave it. The image of courage and heart. Terry Gardner with his guides Alain Larrabee and Simon Whitfield crossing the finish line as one.